Let's get to the top story today, which is a bit of an exclusive because I had to dig this story up from one of the subreddits, and where I've noticed that one of the developers said that Apple has rejected his all mail app from its app store, even though it's pretty much the same as the T app. And I talked to the developer, and I will play that interview for you a little bit later. But just so you're aware, there is this T app that made a lot of headlines last month because it got hacked. But originally, this app was for, and still is, for women to essentially talk shit and share a very personal information of all these men that they've dated and didn't like for one reason or the other. This is based on the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group network. And there is news about that lawsuit as well. And essentially, this is just a way of women to violate men's privacy while bashing them. It's perfectly fine. It's with Apple. It's in their store and it's been there for a while, despite the fact it got hacked yesterday, where ironically enough, all of the women's personal information and conversations and pictures and private information all got leaked out. So I guess payback is a bitch, as they say, right? But the developer, his name is Antona Tuan, um, developed this app that's essentially the same as the T app. And when he tried submitting it to the store, after a while, actually, he got this notification basically saying, these are all the things that don't meet our terms of use, even though these are the same features as the T app, the original T app has. So I messaged him. I say, listen, can you tell me a little bit about it? And apparently he actually talked to the Apple representatives directly. So this is what happened.
So it wasn't approved right away. So they rejected it the first time I submitted it. And then it was relatively radio silence until they came back with a rejection, which I did an update for. And then there was another radio silence for 20 days. They were completely dismissive. I was going through the app review process. I was trying to message them as well. They were completely silent for 20 days until they came back with a full-on list of policies that the app broke.
And
And so
what are those policies that they said they cannot allow?
yeah, so they couldn't allow apps to identify persons. They said that because the app was identifying the person's age, their name, and where they lived, etc. It was breaking TOS.
And how is this different from what the T app is doing?
So it's relatively not different than what the T app's doing. As a matter of fact, this app, the Coffee app, has less features than what the T app has. The T app actually has a functionality to put in the person's location. The Coffee app does not even have that. It's just simple input fields with just asking the name, the age, and some details that is completely optional. The T app has way more than that. Matter of fact, the T app also has a registry where you could even look up criminals to see if the person is a criminal or not, which is blatantly unfair.
And when you mentioned that to, I mean, did you mention it to the Apple team saying, hey, listen, that app that you guys already passed has way more violations of the very same policies. Did they mention why?
Yeah, so I did mention to them when we were on the phone together and they were going through the app and critiquing it. It was a man and a woman. The woman was testing the app, and they were saying that after they critiqued the app, and I asked them, the T app was doing the exact same thing, even the T on Earth app, which I have suspicions about. They said, I don't know. They said, we don't know the full features of those apps. We will check that app to see if it's actually doing those things. So they were acting weirdly aloof and playing dumb. But the problem is that during the call too, they also said that a lot of apps of this genre are trying to make it through. So they know the genre and they know the apps are on the Apple Store. Yet their representatives acted as if they didn't know the full features of the T app, which is weird to me.
And when you pointed it out, they said that, well, we're gonna go and check. Have they gotten back to you and said, oh, whoa, that's right?
Yeah, so they didn't actually get back to me. I was actually hoping for that.
Now, I also reached out to Apple's media department, and apparently they have a lot of in common with modern women because they ghosted me right away. Now, mind you, the media departments for these companies are specifically there to reply to any type of inquiries about any media related stories. And by the way, a lot of journalists, and I've done this in my previous channel when I was an automotive journalist, you email them from a very personal, non-identifying account for the inquiry. So they don't know you. I could be a small YouTuber like me, or I could be representing one of the biggest newspapers in the country. So the fact that they didn't reply to it kind of matches with what Anton said here, is that they're just plain dumb. Now, unfortunately, this is not the first big American, essentially, corporation, a big company that bluntly discriminates against men. Now, by the way, let me be very clear that I don't have a problem if a bunch of women that I've dated before, even though I treat women very well, I never lie to them. They always know if I'm dating other women at the same time. But even if I'm there and there's a bunch of lies and it's my picture there and all of that stuff, I don't mind, because I would never want to date a girl who is part of this toxic community of other single miserable women trying to give each other advice. That essentially disqualifies a girl for me anyway. So I don't really care. Now, do we need to have the same app for men? You can argue that, for example, in my case, I don't need another guy to tell me about a girl to know that I don't want to date her, right? Her tattoos and nose rings, or attitude, or the fact that she doesn't want to meet for just a coffee, which is ironic because this app is called the coffee, tea, coffee. That's already a red flag enough for me. However, there are, especially, this app, Anton told me that the coffee app has a section where you can say if this girl ever had false accusations against a man. Now, that is something that I think I might want to look up and use. Though, again, I feel like it is not that hard to tell when a woman is just not a good future partner, not a good person. Like, these women are not hiding it because they don't even know that it's a negative, right? Now, the original T app is, it got hacked, and that's why the whole story broke. It was based on a network of Facebook groups called "Are We Dating the Same Guy?" This is where girls were trying to figure out, are they dating a cheater? Again, I think I can easily argue that it's not that hard to tell. Every time a girl says, "Oh, that guy cheated on me," I'm like, "Let me see him." Oh, yeah, that looks just about right. So much like men, but women specifically, I always say they are the worst species on earth when it comes to picking the right partner for themselves. They are the dumbest. I mean, the earthworm can pick a better mating partner than modern women. Now, there was a lawsuit against one of the communities, I think in Chicago, Illinois, but recently, I think this week, it got dismissed. I did look into it as well. It just looks like the guy who was filing the lawsuit wasn't really follow up very properly, and I think he didn't even show up to court once. But at the same time, I don't really see where it breaks the law. I can see how it's a violation of your privacy and all of that stuff, but I mean it's a violation of the terms of service, obviously, as the Apple pointed this out to Anton, except for when it came to violating the privacy of men and disclosing their information, they had no problem. And this is a story that I feel like I've been doing over and over and over again. It's the now large corporations, because I did a story on TikTok earlier this week, not even last week, this week, where it's not a big deal. It's commonly accepted to discriminate against men. There's another lawsuit that's going on that I'm kind of following to cover for you guys. Is somebody sued one of the clubs that they were charging men a higher price than women. We all know it's a blunt discrimination, but nevertheless, everybody does it. Everyone's cool with it because this is the culture of simps and feminism. This is one of many reasons why I left America. I cannot imagine myself living in a society like that. This is why I picked Southeast Asia as my new home, because none of this bullshit flies here, at least yet. So this is not uncommon. And as I mentioned before, this is going to continue until men decide to stand up for themselves. And we can do it in two ways. First, we can demand that the politicians that we vote for, whether the Republicans, Democrats, Independents, have men's rights on their agenda, have men's issues on their agenda, because right now I can't think of one, honestly. And it's funny because yesterday I featured a story where Barack Obama, a couple of weeks ago, criticized Democrats and progressives, how poorly they've handled men's issues, and it seems like it's an issue that Republicans are better at handling, where I argue they are not. But that is the problem, that men don't have men's issues anywhere on the priority list when it comes to voting. And secondly, at some point, we should be able to unite over one cause, for example, whether Apple or TikTok or whatever, and boycott their advertisers, their products, and so forth. If there's enough of us doing it, we will at least make a mark saying, like, we don't want to take this anymore. But for as long as men don't give a shit about their own issues, about their own rights, this is going to continue. This app, the rejection of this app just shows you that American and Western societies are not going to be on your side, and until you start fighting for it like women used to for decades, nothing is going to change. And the longer we allow this bullshit to go on and on and on, the deeper the hole we're digging ourselves into, the harder it is going to be to climb out of it, if we ever will. Like I said, shame on American men who only ended up uniting over the trans person advertising their beer, right? That got them off of the couches and actually boycotting the brand and changing whatever it is that they wanted to change. But when it comes to the actual real everyday issues that I cover on daily basis, whether it's just blunt discrimination against men, or false accusations against men with no punishment, like I did a story yesterday where a woman not only got away with falsely accusing five hockey players of sexual harassment and rape, essentially. And not only she got away with it, didn't do any time for lying, but she made significant amount of money on that. Until we do that, um, things are going to get worse and worse and worse for us. Let me take a quick comment from the live chat. Well, when a male does it, says The Rock, it's, oh no, you misogynist criminal, let's get you canceled, go die. But when a female does it, everything's fine, you go girl, women power, you can do it. I couldn't have said it better myself. This is exactly what is happening in Western societies. And guys, I got to tell you, yes, it is unjust, but it is up to you now. I was going to say up to us. I don't live there anymore. It's up to you to unite, to, for example, share videos like this and raise some noise to the point where at some point maybe we will have some power, because we don't need all men to unite over any type of a cause, right? Women have shown us how to do it. They got really good at it. So we have a playbook on how to fight for our rights, whether it is legal rights or cultural rights. And I argue that men are second class citizens in America and many other Western countries in both categories. Uh, so it's a cause that we have to pick. Now, we only need to, let's say, boycott a sponsor or brand or an app, or whatever, where they lose 10% of their revenues. That's already going to be a big hit enough, right? So it really doesn't take that much to make a point, and yet, unfortunately, we're not there yet. KL says Masandri is an all-time high. Wake up, men. This could be a slogan for my channel. So until then, Tim Cook here can tell you, fuck you, man, and we're all gonna have to take it. I will definitely follow the story, and I will let you know if there are any developments. There's another story that's very similar that I'm following that I will also let you know about once the time comes. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.